You're listening to Black Parents Aging, where we help you navigate caring for aging loved ones. Every Wednesday, we'll discuss how to help your parents successfully navigate this new season of life. We are going to talk about legal, health, technology, and finances. Here's your host attorneys, Olivia Smith and Nicola Robinson.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Parents Aging. I am so excited you are here to join me. So it's just me, no Olivia, no guest today, but I wanted to take the time to record an episode on something I get asked about a lot. I think this one came through our Facebook group, and it is when to take your parents off from behind the wheel. When do they stop driving? And you've all seen it. You know, you've been on the highway and you see somebody and they're going maybe 10 miles an hour. Cars are honking at them. You know, people are going around them and you are like, oh my God, you know, they need to get off the road. So we get asked, when is it time? And how do you even do that? Like, how do you go about taking your parents off the road or getting them to understand that it is time? And so what you really want to look at before making that decision is to kind of say, what kind of physical changes have you noticed in your parents? Have they experienced decreased vision? Their hearing is starting to be a little bit less, and so you're having to speak a little bit louder, or you see they have slower reflexes, because you know a lot of driving is being able to stop suddenly or being able to, you know, maneuver when you see pedestrians or other cars. So if you see your parents' reflexes are starting to get slower, that's a great sign or a great time for you to pause and just observe and see if they're still in a position that they can drive. And then look and see if they have pain or stiffness, if their neck and their back, if they're sitting for a long period of time and they're starting to experience stiffness when they sit for a long period of time, or if they're experiencing leg pain. Those are also some signs of physical changes that you might want to be aware of when it comes to your parents driving. And then you want to think about, just like I said, the cognitive things, the slow reactions, or, you know, they're not able to really gauge depth of vision like they used to. So some warning signs, and these are some ones that you could say, okay, I keep seeing this. Look at their car. Do they have a whole bunch of scratches and dents? And, you know, you might ask them about it. And of course, they'll say stuff like they grazed the mailbox or a grocery cart ran into the car. But if you're seeing consistent dents and dings and you know, they're not really giving you solid answers as to where they're coming from, that's a sure sign that they might be losing their field of vision. And so they might be having some issues with depth perception, or their driving habits have changed. So, you know, a lot of times we can be on autopilot. We drive from the grocery store to the house or from house into the church so often that sometimes we don't even really remember how we got there. But if you see that now they're starting to like roll through stop signs instead of coming through a full stop, yes, they know the route, but they're just kind of rolling on through there. That could be a huge red flag. Or if you see that they're having a very hard time changing lanes, that is also a red flag, that there are things now in their blind spot that they're just not able to see like they used to. And we already talked about sight. Sight is a huge one. If you see any changes in their vision, now that's probably going to be a problem. And if you see that they're getting really stressed out about driving, like it's becoming stressful, it's becoming confusing, or they are physically tired because they've gotten so wound up at the thought of driving, then you might really want to have cause for concern. So signs that cause concern: they get lost much more easily in areas, especially that they're familiar with. So if it's their neighborhood and they're having a hard time finding their way home, or they have a hard time with backing out of the driveway or turning the car around, they're having trouble, like I said, seeing or going through traffic signals or traffic signs. They're mixing up the gas and the brake pedals. So you'll see they're accelerating into things, or they're backing into things much more, or they're just really responding much slower to things. So much of driving is, again, that response time. Or if they keep telling you, you know, I just had a close call, but they missed that accident. That's a red flag that it might be time to take the keys. And so I get a lot of questions about, well, how do you do that? How do you have that conversation? I know I had a former client whose grandmother just did not want to give up driving. And you have to understand, many of us started driving at 15 or 16 years old. So we've been doing it for a long time. And it was our very first taste of independence. And so imagine for your parents, that is still a very large part of their independence that they've had for many, many years. And so for you to tell them or to even suggest that they're no longer safe behind the wheel can be very tricky. So what I have found, and I stand by this, I think this is the best way to handle it because I've seen some clients who've tried to do it other ways and it kind of backfired on them. I had a client who's, like I said, his grandma didn't want to give up driving and he would hide the keys from her. He went so far as to like take the tires off the car and put it on cinder blocks and say, well, the car wasn't working. And as creative as he got, she just got even more creative. So it became this huge cat and mouse game. And I felt like at the end, they both were just really frustrated with one another. And I think that it could have been easily avoided. So I'm going to give you my tried and true way of how to get a professional to step in and help you to kind of take the keys from your parents without them really being mad at you. You report them to the DMV. That's right, the Department of Motor Vehicles. Let them be mad at the DMV and not at you. Most states will allow you to make a report. You don't need a doctor. Anyone can file the report. So if it's you're concerned about your grandma or your auntie, you can make that report as well. Some states even allow you to do it anonymously. Now, here where we practice law in Georgia, you don't get the luxury of being anonymous, but you can check on the form that you want it to be kept confidential. You want your identity to remain confidential. And so here in Georgia, what you would do is you would reach out to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and there is a form that you need to fill out. And basically, you put on the form what it is you observe and why you feel that this person might be an unsafe driver and why you would want the DMV to step in. So once you reach out, I think the form is called the DDS 270. You fill out the form, you send that in, you can fax it in or you can mail it in, and you put on there, if you see physical conditions, you're observing that they were confused or disoriented, or if they've been in an accident recently and you're like, okay, that really is the last straw. We need to get some help. You can attach a copy of that police report and send that all in. And then the DMV will contact your parent and ask them to come in for a retest. And so the DMV gets to be the person to tell them, okay, your depth perception is off. We don't recommend that you continue to drive, or let the DMV explain to them that due to, their slower reaction time, they probably should no longer be operating a vehicle. So you don't get to be the bad guy. Let the DMV, because everybody used to be mad at the DMV. So that's not a big deal. And you get to keep the peace with your parents. Like, that's the best part, is you benefit, you get to keep them off the road and keep them safe, which is what we always want to make sure we're doing. We're working from a place of love, and we keep others safe. If we recognize that there is time for them to get off the road, it's probably creating unsafe conditions for all the people around them. If family members are like, nope, I don't want to ride with mom, or yeah, no, I'm not getting in the car with her, those are always signs that it's probably time to revisit this. And like I said, you can, while it's not anonymous, you do have to put your information on there. You can keep it confidential so they will never know that you were the one that reported them to the DMV. And like I said, in some states, you ain't even got to put your name on it. So that makes it even easier. Or maybe you have that conversation and your parents agree. It could happen. And there is a form here in Georgia that is a voluntary surrender form. And that one is the DDS 577, I believe. And really all it is going to the DMV and saying, it's time. I recognize it's time. I no longer wish to have a driver's license. And instead, you would be simply applying for a state issued ID. And so those are the two two forms that you might want to look at and see it's time to get your parents off the road or it's time for you to take their keys. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you find this helpful. I don't know why it's not more widely publicized that you could do this to help get your parents off the road when it is no longer safe for them to drive. I think that the DMV probably should be sending out flyers and letting family members know about this. So when their parents or grandparents become a certain age, that this is an option. So that's it. Take care. If you have any additional questions, we love hearing from you guys. So please send us a message. You can do it through our website, www.srlawgrp.com. You can hit us up on Facebook and pretty much all social media outlets. We are there. And that's all I have for you guys. Okay. Until next time, take care.
Thanks for joining us this week on Black Parents Aging. Check out our Facebook group at Black Parents Aging, where we go live to answer your questions. For more info on today's topic, check out the show notes on our website, srlawgrp.com. If you know someone who could benefit from today's episode, please share a link to the show. Subscribe to the show to catch new episodes and leave a review. Until next week.